Hey guys, so I found this new resource that I can use to go over lessons. So I'll be doing some videos still with me in them, but I'll also be using this awesome app called Screencastify. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with your next step of the personal narrative, and we're going to get started now. Okay, so next you guys are going to be choosing transition words and phrases. You will now select your transition words and phrases. When you choose your transition words or phrases, make sure it sounds like you. So I talk about this all the time in class. I don't want to read the same assignments over and over again. This is your paper, and therefore it should really sound like you are the one writing your paper. And I really hope that makes sense. And if you have questions, just contact me. Okay, moving on. So here are some examples of transition words. So the ones that are highlighted in red, okay, are for like the first introduction paragraph or the first event that you're going to be talking about. Now, these ones here, okay, that are blue, that would be like for the middle paragraph. So the second event that's happening. And then, of course, the ones that are like highlighted in purple, those are conclusion transition word phrases. Okay. I also have an anchor chart I'm going to show you now. I apologize that this is so blurry, but I'm just going to read them to you guys. So the green ones here are for the beginning, the yellow ones are for the middle, and then the red ones are conclusion statements. And then over here on this side, it says evidence terms. That's when you're, expanding on your details more because, of course, in fifth grade, you should be able to write at least 8 to 10 sentences for each paragraph. Okay. And then contradiction, that's when you're like contradicting something. So those phrases say like, however, although, but, nonetheless, nevertheless. And then evidence terms says, for example, or for instance, okay, such as. And then if you look at the green ones for the first paragraph, it says to begin, first of all, to start, initially, at first, first. The second one is secondly, also, in addition, in fact, besides, another, furthermore, moreover. And then the red ones say in conclusion, finally, lastly, and to sum it up. Now remember, if you forget the transition words, you can always go back here and pause the screen so you can look at them, or you can pause this here. Also, you can always look up transition word anchor charts on Google and you will find stuff that can help you. So what I did here is I kind of drew up the diagram of what I've done so far. So we have our introduction here, okay? We have my conclusion, and then I have my 3 big events that I picked on that circle diagram that we did a while back. Now here, you'll notice that there's an arrow pointing to the transition words and phrases. So these were not here before I added them in. So when I get ready to do my writing of the first paragraph, because I'm going to model it for you guys, I'm going to make sure I start it off with the transition word or phrase. So as you'll see, it says the first thing we did was we went to the beach. And then when I expand on my details, I'm going to expand on these points here. Okay. Then the second body paragraph, that transition word phrase is going to be after a while. So after a while, we went into town. And I'll be honest, if I feel like I need to come back and change this as I start writing, I probably will. And you guys can do the same thing. That's why I said you don't need to write the whole paper yet, because I wanted to take our time with it. Okay. And then the last one is later on, and that's my last body paragraph. And then that will transition into my conclusion. So the next thing that I want to do for us is I'm going to show you how I wrote my first body paragraph. So basically, if you look at this, I wrote about how we went to the beach. I'm going to make sure that I include that I went swimming and I made sandcastles, that I had a picnic, and that we found seashells. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what my first body paragraph is going to look like. Okay, so you'll notice, wow, this is a lot of writing, Miss Christian. Yes, but that's because I really went through and tried to stretch out each point that I made on my graphic organizer so that it would be more interesting to read. So this is the first event paragraph. This is what I'm going to talk about when I went to the beach. Okay, I'm going to read it for you guys. So here's my transition phrase. The first thing we did when we arrived was go to the beach. My father always packs chairs and a tarp for shade. Of course, when we arrived, we had to unload the car and set up our spot for the day. So what I'm talking about here is how we, got ready for the beach, okay? And that is okay to include because you want to expand on each idea. Okay, I'm going to continue. I'm right here. After we finished that, we lathered on the sunscreen and went for a swim in the water. Here I am talking about the swimming. It was so cold but so clean that we could see our feet. Due to the water being cold, we decided it would be a good idea to warm up on land and make a sandcastle. So you'll notice that now I'm talking about the sandcastle. Next part. The sandcastle was really cool because the sand was all different types of colors. We also got really creative and used seashells to decorate the outside. As you'll notice, I included the seashells and now it's in my paragraph. Now I'm going to move on to the kind of the ending. Then we started to get hungry, and thankfully, before we left, my mom had made sandwiches. Okay, so the picnic. I didn't say picnic clearly, but that's what we did. So I'll probably go back and fix that later. Anyways, they had turkey, salami, lettuce, tomato, pepperoncinis, mayonnaise, and mustard. It was so delicious, especially because we had chips to go with them as well. After we got cleaned up, we headed back to the beach and to the cabin. The next day, we couldn't wait. Hold on just a second. I need to move this out of the way. There we go. Let me start over. Sorry about that. It was so delicious, especially because we had chips to go with them as well. After a great time at the beach, we headed back to the cabin. The next day, we couldn't wait to go explore town. And if I go back to the previous slide, town is the next thing that I have on my list to talk about. So, a really important step to remember, guys, is that you want to make sure that when you end a body paragraph that you have some type of conclusion slash introduction to what the next paragraph is going to be about. So I kind of just briefly told you guys, oh, and by the way, next I'm going to talk about when I went to town. Okay? So what I want to do is, you'll notice as I was reading, I realized I need to edit this because I didn't even use the phrase picnic. So I'm going to say, then we started to get hungry, and thankfully before we left, my mom had made sandwiches. And I'm going to put, we had a family picnic. And the sandwiches, I'm going to take this out. Sandwiches, I need to fix the spelling on that. Okay, so now I'm going to hit present so you guys can fully see the changes that I just made. All right, and then as you will see, I changed it. So now we had a family picnic, and the sandwiches had turkey, salami, lettuce, and then I talk about all the toppings. Okay, so what this means for you guys, and what I want you guys to make sure that you do at this time, is you guys are going to make sure that you really, really did expand each body paragraph. So when we are done, okay, if we go back to this page here, each of these paragraphs should be about 8 to 10 sentences long. Now, when I look back at mine and I counted, I had, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I had 12 sentences. So what that means is you guys have a job to do by next week, okay? I'm going to ask that you turn in your first draft of the entire paper to me on Sunday, okay? And then Tuesday, I'll be posting the next step, which will be the editing. So that will mean you guys are going to go back and really make sure that all of your grammar is correct and that everything looks good before you guys turn in the final assignment. Okay, so just remember, if you have any questions, please leave a comment on Class Dojo or Google Classroom. But your job right now is that you are going to make sure that you complete this entire paper. This is going to be your first draft, okay? So just remember, for the first draft, it's not official. We're not done with this writing project yet. We're going to take our time with this. All right, well, I hope this is helpful. And if you have any questions, let me know. But I'm going to get going, and I look forward to, the next step for us. Okay, bye.